Hello and welcome to Friday Lines, brought to you by Little Birdie TV and topsport.com.au, punting form and Manscaped, all your essential items for life. As I welcome MG, who's looking a bit fresher a week after the Bull.
It's true. I am, yeah. It's been a better week. Been blue shorts in the office all week, so still working hard, OB, but sleeping in your own bed always helps, I think, so it's good.
As we cross to another man who's looking very fresh in Toprope, how's things up there in Orange?
Yeah, just been taking up the manscaping OB, so took advantage of no Thursday night football, was lost, was just wandering around Orange, wondering what to do with myself. You know, do I spend time with the family? Do I get a haircut? What do I do? So anyway, it's Friday, rugby league's back, normality resumes.
He's looking very nice up there as well, so looking very good. MG, a little bit of blood on the floor at the AFL. The first coaching change of the year. Leon Cameron gone from GWS after 9 years as coach and 10 years at the organisation. Big news yesterday.
Yeah, it was, probably not, well, maybe not a shock, I don't know. It was, it turns around quick, doesn't it? What was he in a prelim last year? 5 out of his last 6 years, I think he's taken him to the finals, so it shows what a tough business is, the coaching.
I think Chris Scott's the only coach that's won more finals in the last 6 years.
Right.
So, it's tough.
Yeah, it is tough because they're. I tell you what, it might make plenty of other coaches a bit nervous going into this weekend as well if they can cut Leon at such an early part as well. You're like, we're only 8 rounds into the season. I know they're 2 and 6, but it's going quickly. But you don't know how much is maybe the burnout and the pressure and stuff like that. As you said, I think it was 30, 34 years or something, player and coach. He's been straight through. And it's, once he made the decision, it sounded like in the press conference that a bit of wear and tear and he just needs to freshen up. And I think Clarko backed that up on one of the shows I saw him on last night that, he's enjoyed his break and obviously he's refreshed himself. So Leon will probably go through the same process and, probably front up again next year at a club. And
I think with Leon Cameron and GWS, he does a lot more than just coach the club.
Yeah.
You've got to sell it. Kevin Sheedy did similar.
Yes.
You've sort of got to sell the whole club and the whole, and you are you're the face of the organisation.
Yeah.
So I think that's tough for him and just
in a new market,
absolutely.
In a tough market as well. It's not like he was coaching down in Melbourne where he's probably got a bit more of a security blanket. As you said, he'd have to do a lot more than coaching up there, and it's probably just worn him out as well.
And great timing by Clarko, just appearing on AFL 360 just after one coach goes down. I think his manager James Henderson's done a very good job there.
Put him back on the plane quickly.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Toprope, Magic Round gets underway tonight. One of the great rounds in Australian sport, Magic Round. It's a great initiative by the NRL. Unfortunately, the weather seems to be playing a part again up there.
Yeah, Brisbane underwater, torrential this week. We've got, after back-to-back sellouts last week, though, in the NRL, we've got a sellout on Saturday, and I think Sunday's pretty close to a sellout as well. So should get some good crowds regardless of the weather. It's just, it's just a great atmosphere. This, of course, comes from the Super League, where they've done the Magic Round for probably over a decade now, and it's been a raging success over there. So, look, it's really exciting time. The week's starting with a decidedly unmagic game between the two lowest scoring worst teams in the competition. But after that, we'll be away. Everyone's got to play, I guess. So
that's right. Start from the low base.
Some cracking games. We'll start from the low base, and we do cap out at the likely grand final preview with the Storm and the Panthers on Saturday night, which we'll of course preview down the road. But look, very, very exciting. From a personal point of view, very unfortunate that the AFL has beaten rugby league to sack the first coach. We all know how much I love a bit of blood on the floor, and there's about half a dozen coaches who are lucky to have seen Magic Round this year. So unfortunately, the AFL has got in first. So well done to the AFL. Give it a cap.
Toprope can send the bottle of goose down. The AFL won this one. So,
yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
We'll enjoy that.
We'll get into it a little bit later, Toprope. But Pappenhausen's a big loss for the Storm, and also the NRL. He's obviously a marquee player and a player that everyone loves to watch. And also, it's a great round for journalists. Magic Round. There's always a scandal up there after every team in one city with plenty of alcohol involved as well. So we'll touch on that a little bit later. But right now it's time for Friday Lines, brought to you by topsport.com.au, family owned and operated for 35 years. Bet with a bookie you can trust. Bet with topsport.com.au. as MG. We get into the first match of the round. It looks a good one. 7:50 tonight at Marvel Stadium. Collingwood $2.32 against the Western Bulldogs, $1.64. The line 8.5. Over under 167.5. Bontempelli and Keith are back. A bit of a flu going through both sides here. Which way are you leaning?
Yeah, probably don't have a side or a play, I think, on the head-to-head line. I think the market's got it pretty much right. And as you said, there's still maybe a couple of queries to come in this game. Collingwood obviously losing the Ginnivan as well in the forward pocket. He's been playing very well, so bit of a loss for Collingwood there as well. And English will miss again for the Bulldogs. So I think he come back from his injury and then went down with the flu, so he can't take a trick right now. So he'll be a big loss. Well, both sides are playing without rucks, probably cancels out with Grundy missing as well. But I think this is pretty evenly balanced. I don't think there's too much between it. Collingwood actually have a better record against the Bulldogs of late, but obviously being played at Marvel, it brings it back to Bulldogs virtually home game more than Collingwood's, I thought. So bit of advantage there. Interesting to see the totals dropped quite a bit there. Being under the dome, it's dropped a whole goal, which I wasn't really going to play, but now it's kind of going down to 167. I'd say if it drops another point or two, I don't know why it's dropped so much. It's probably a slight overplay. But looking at the margins and stuff, I've been playing pretty close. I'd be looking maybe the 15.5 points or 24 either team. I think this game might be pretty close and it should be a good one. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I like it as well. I don't think Darcy Moore can play that badly again. Tom
you wouldn't want to.
The cloud. Well, that's right. But plenty of other players got sort of pants on the weekend, but they sort of focus on Darcy. I'm an unabashed Darcy Moore fan. I think he can bounce back here against North. I don't mind the Pies. I'm eagerly waiting for this game, and so it should be a good one. Yeah,
I think it'll be a good one. I think it'll be pretty entertaining. If they kick straight, the points, and as I said, the total might give you a run at that 167.
And Magic Round kicks off tonight, as we've spoken about, Toprope. But the game we're looking at here is the later game tonight is Manly against the Broncos. Manly $1.64 against the Broncos, $2.32. The line minus 3.5. Over under 34.5. The Sea Eagles favourite up there in Brisbane. And the Broncos have been in pretty good nick.
Yeah, it's a pretty compelling game, actually. These two typically play on a Friday night Magic Round. Manly desperately unlucky to have this game as one of their home games. I like the Broncos here. I think the Broncos are a red hot go. They're a very different side at home. And what I find, they beat Cronulla last time when they played at Suncorp and come out and absolutely smoked South Sydney last week. I know South would be poor, but the Broncos were well on song and starting to resemble a national football team, the Broncos. So Adam Reynolds has worked magic up there. So they've covered 9 of 11 at Suncorp. Manly not particularly good away from Brookie. They've covered just 5 of 16 away. Broncos have scored 18 plus and 6 in the last 7 against Manly, which is a pretty good record considering how bad they've been the last few years. So I think Brisbane can score enough points to run with Manly. Manly got the job done last week against the Tigers, but did let the Tigers, who can barely score 22 against them. So I'm very keen on the Broncos plus here and the Broncos swing off the stick. And just depending on how much of a deluge this is under, the total's down to almost an over bet at the 34.5, I think, in this one. First inclination was the over. I think there's points from both teams in this one. It just depends how much water the ground is under. So not jumping into it yet as an official play, but I've certainly been leaning that way at this stage, but Brisbane very confident.
I looked at the forecast this morning, and I think the bomb is keeping $1 each way themselves. It's 20 to 80 millimetres, so they're sort of keeping their powder dry. It's not a very accurate forecast, but there has been a lot already. So a good play there to sort of keep the powder dry until late in the day. The second game we look at here for the AFL market is the Saints and the Cats Saturday afternoon at Marvel. The Saints 2.12, Geelong $1.74 after their win against GWS, and the line 4.5 over under 164.5. Some good ins for both sides. The Cats welcome back Stanley and Selwood, while Billings comes back in for his first game of the year to add a little bit of class to the St Kilda forward line. They were probably a touch disappointing against Melbourne last week. Geelong, very good. I think the Saints can bounce back here. I am a bit of a St Kilda fan, as you know, MG. But I think this one, this probably looks the match of the round.
Yeah, close to OB. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm not sure with this game. It's I kind of go back and forth. I'm going to be slightly against you on this one. I know we don't agree too often, but if I was having a wager, I'd probably just shade Geelong. I don't think there's a big edge in the game. I just think some of the stats, Geelong have now won 6 in a row against the Saints, and including a draw, they've won 11-1. So they've got a pretty dominant record over a fair stretch. The thing that worries me in this game is I just don't know where St Kilda's offense is going to come from. Their last 3 weeks, they've really struggled to score 77, 42 and 55. And Geelong's offense, 6 of the 8 this year, they've scored 80 or more. So I just think there's a fair gap in the scoring abilities. And I just think, I just don't know. Geelong love the defense, bringing the game down. I'm not sure where St Kilda's going to get enough offense to win this game.
And I was a bit surprised by St Kilda's ins. Billings obviously picks himself, good player. Sharman comes in, and then they've got King, Membry, Wood, Marshall, Sharman in a forward line. Where I think against Geelong you need a bit of pace on the footy. So that sort of worries me a little bit. But Sharman's been in good nick in the VFL.
Yeah,
so
bombing it up into the forward line against Geelong doesn't work too often.
Plays into their hands, unless Sharman's coming in to play a role on Tom Stewart, possibly. But I don't think he's the man for it. I reckon Membry can keep Tom Stewart quite accountable. But looks a good game there.
Definitely a good game. I don't think there'll be too much in it. I just think at the line for me, if I was having one way or the other, I'd just shade Geelong.
And the Premiership preview, or the grand final preview, I should say. Melbourne Storm against Penrith Saturday night up there at Suncorp. The Storm $2.15, Penrith $1.72. The line 2.5, over under 34 even. No Pappenhausen here. Penrith coming off a loss last week to the Eels. Toprope, I'm interested to see which way you're leaning.
How good is this match going to be? Neutral venue as well. Absolutely fabulous, if you ask me. I find the betting this incredibly disrespectful to Melbourne. I know Ryan Pappenhausen's out. Pappenhausen has been absolutely tremendous of late, but he's having a fantastic year. He's obviously one of the main draw cards, but very, very hard to understand how even with his absence, the Storm aren't favoured here. The Storm are just coming off breaking the record for the most points scored in the opening 9 rounds of the season, a record that stood for just under 90 years. They hold form like no other when they are scoring well. They've covered 11 of 13 off winning by 30 plus. Now, they've probably got a little bit more motivation after Penrith got home in that finals game last year. Yeah, Penrith off a loss, not that great away from Penrith Stadium. I'm very, very confident on Melbourne. I think they should be favourites.
And I'm sure Bellamy's got something up his sleeve for this one. Everyone's talking about Penrith and how good they are. No Pappenhausen. I'm sure he'll have them primed and ready to go.
Yeah, I think what we're going to see here, Melbourne playing, a pretty leery brand of rugby league at the moment. I think you're still going to see plenty of ball in, but I think Melbourne are going to try and absolutely smash Penrith up front here. Tui Kamikamica looks like he's going to make his comeback after he was suspended for an off-field incident. I can see this being a real bash and barge kind of game, particularly with the weather conditions. I think it's going to play right into Melbourne's hands here. I think they've got a great pack and they can turn on when everyone. Young Nick Meaney's going to play fullback for the Storm. He's replaced Pappenhausen. Obviously, no Pappenhausen, but he's having a great year in the Storm system. He's done a really good job on the wing. He looks fitter, he looks faster. No surprises seeing he came from the Canterbury system there. So I think we are going to see a real. It's going to be a game where you're going to have to take your opportunities, and Melbourne take the opportunities better than the other team. So really looking forward to this one. I think Melbourne are going to be winning this and probably winning it in a way they haven't been winning that.
Yeah, no, it looks a beauty. And on Saturday night as well, nothing else to sort of compete against. No real big AFL game. So, I think all eyes will be on the rugby league on Saturday night. The next game for AFL analysis is the GWS Giants against the Carlton Blues. The Giants $1.75, Carlton $2.12, the line -2.5, over under 166.5. MG, the news of Leon Cameron the last couple of days, has seen any shift in the market? Sometimes when the coach goes, the team lifts. No Harry Mackay, no Jack Martin. It's all sort of leaning towards the Giants in this one.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack in this game, isn't there, OB? The Giants actually started a couple of points favourite early in the week, and then it flipped to Carlton pretty big. It went 5 up to 6.5 Carlton, and then all of a sudden the news broke, and obviously Harry Mackay coming out is a big loss, and it's flipped back. So the Giants are back to where they started, but there's been a lot of action in between. So yeah, at the moment the Giants are just favourite in the game. Hard to line up. I think Harry Mackay is going to be a huge loss because it's almost like a double blow because him and Curnow have been working so good in tandem, and now the Giants only have to go to shut down pretty much Curnow, especially with Jack Martin out as well, who's a good foil up forward. So I think this is a pretty good spot for the Giants. How much impact they've had during the week of losing their coach and being a send-off game. It's a hard game to come into bet for me. It's probably not a betting game for me, but yeah, the money's definitely come back for the Giants since the coach news and also Harry Mackay coming out. And it's going to be a big test for Carlton, actually. They're going okay. Their draw's been pretty soft, but losing Harry Mackay, who's been a key for him, obviously, and putting all the pressure on Charlie, which he's been running around with the second, definitely the second offender, with the focus going on to me. Interesting to see how he goes as well. Yeah,
absolutely. I think it'll be a great matchup, Sam Taylor against Charlie Curnow. It should be a beauty.
Yeah,
but,
two young guns. Yeah.
Absolutely. But I think, Toby Green, he really likes Leon Cameron, always has. They've always sort of stuck up for each other.
Yeah.
I think he'll be primed for a big one. So I like the Giants in that one.
Yeah.
Another game that's an absolute cracker in the NRL top rope, the Sydney Roosters against the Parramatta Eels, $2.20 the Roosters, the Eels $1.70, the line 2 points even, and the over-under 38 on the dot as well. This looks an absolute beauty. The Eels are just, they're looking pretty good this year. The Eels and the Roosters, they've got to find their form sooner rather than later with Tedeschi and Maria Hargraves and the like running around for them. So it looks another belter.
Yeah, it's not too many teams this year. In fact, another team with the scalps of the Storm and the Panthers on the mantelpiece. Exactly what Parramatta has there. You're right about the Roosters. They've been underperforming, but whether they played themselves back into form or kind of got flooded a bit by playing the Gold Coast last week, a bit hard to tell. They did put an absolute number on the Titans last week and kind of ran right. And James Tedeschi, since the pressure's come on for Pappenhausen for that number 1 jersey in Origin, has really lifted his form and was absolutely sublime last week. Probably the best performance of the round. First thoughts, this one were the Roosters. The Roosters have dominated the Eels historically. They've won 12 of 16. They've won 5 of the last 6 by more than 13. But the Roosters have been pulled away from the SCG. I'm not sure that everything's clicking 100%. The Walker-Keary combination not really, firing at the moment. Parramatta off a very, very big win over the Panthers last week. They've got a very good record at Suncorp. They're very good and favoured by less than a try. But leaning Parramatta here, leaning the Eels, but not a lot of confidence this one. I think this is going to be an enjoyable game, and I think it's going to probably tell us a fair bit about where both sides are at. Particularly the Roosters, like Trent Robinson said earlier in the year that he wasn't expecting them to kind of really find their feet until round 10. Well, the bell's chimed. Round 10's here. Midnight's here for Cinderella. So time for the Roosters to step up.
And it's always good to have a game at 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon to look forward to. I know we had that in the AFL a couple of weeks ago with Brisbane and the Swans. It's always good to have something to keep your eyes peeled on for the last game of the round. As we go through the rest of the AFL markets very quickly here, MG, Hawthorn 340 against the Tigers, 133. The line there, 19.5, over under 173.5. A quick one there.
Yeah, a couple of plays. Richmond have been smashed in this market, OB, 12-19. It's all Richmond. Last week you saw what Martin brought back, so I think it'll continue Richmond for me, and also like the overs in this game.
North Melbourne, Port Adelaide is the next game. The Kangas 6.25 against the Power, $1.12. The line 37.5, over under 156.5. North have been smashed in the media this week, but the Port Power look like they're getting a little bit of groove back.
Yeah, they are, and Port have been smashing the market too. The money's all for Port at the line. For me, this total interests me. I think the bookies misstepped at 165.5. We got into that line early. It's now 156.5. Continues to go to the under. I don't know how they come up with 165. This game should finish under for me. 156, maybe still a bet.
Sydney Essendon, Dyson Heppel's 200th game. He's been a great servant of the Bombers. The Swans $1.29, Essendon $3.65, the line minus 24.5, over under 173.5. The Bombers were okay last week in a decimated side, but which way are you leaning?
Yeah, money is for Essendon, 28 down to 24. I think they still provide the value. Not a betting game for me, but I think Essendon definitely the value.
And Adelaide, Brisbane at Adelaide Oval, the Crows $4.50, the Lions $1.22, the line 27.5, over 168.5. I'm not sold on this game for the Lions. I think it's a little bit of a danger game, but interested in your thoughts.
Market says otherwise. 19 opening there for Brisbane, up to 27.5. It's all one-way traffic. I know they've got problems, obviously, with McStay on the top of Danaher coming out. Hipwood will come back fresh after a long layoff, so I'm not sure how much he'll contribute. Brisbane got too much firepower. Can't trust Adelaide, Brisbane for me.
Gold Coast Fremantle is the early game on Sunday. The Suns $2.42 after that great win against the Swans. The Dockers just keep on keeping on. $1.58, the line 9.5, over under 146.5. This looks a cracker up there.
Yeah, and I don't see it the same way. I think Fremantle close to the bet of the week, I think. I know it's a tough road trip going from Perth to Brisbane, and Gold Coast did beat. I thought it was more Sydney were very ordinary last week, but Gold Coast got a tough win. I think Fremantle are good at the line, and this total's been smashed to the under as well. It's moved 8 points to the under. Not a betting game for me, not a betting total for me, but I really like Freo at the 9.
And the final game of the round is just a multi top up. Eagles $19, the Demons $1.01, the line 60.5, over under 166.5. I'm surprised Gawn's playing. I would have left him here and have a weekend home with the family, but this looks all one way traffic.
Yeah, seems strange that they're taking him over and playing him. I agree with you there, OB. This is a pad up. Leave a good ball outside off stump. Move on to the following round.
As we go to the rest of the games for the NRL markets, the early game is the Bulldogs and the Knights. The Bulldogs $1.74, the Knights $2.14, the line minus 2.5, over under 32.5. First time the Bulldogs have been favourites in a while, Toprope.
First time since 2020, and the third time since the 2017 season. Second lowest in that time frame is the Cowboys on 21. So shows you where the Bulldogs were as a club. Can't believe they're favourites here. Couldn't recommend Newcastle with any confidence, but they do have Kalen Ponga, which is a lot better than Canterbury to offer. Very keen on a total here though, under 32.5. The line definitely 34.5. 18 of 22 have gone under when these two meet. Worst from second worst attacking team in the competition. Bulldogs don't move the ball. Easy prey for any half competent defensive side. Yeah, the Knights are playing very poorly, so I'll be all over the under this one.
And we whip through the rest of the games. Warriors $3.10, the South Sydney Rabbitohs $1.39, the line 7.5, over under 37.5. Anything doing?
Yeah, first thoughts here were jump on South. But Cameron Murray out, looks like Blake Taft's out. I think there's probably a bit of value with the 7.5 with the weather about as well. That's in from 8.5. So I'll be having a small play the Warriors.
Titans Dragons is the next one. Titans $2, the Dragons $1.84, the line 1.5, over under 36.5.
Yeah, a little bit of money for the Dragons here. Betting's flipped in this one. Not sure if it's the right decision. Don't have any strong lean either way. Probably leaning the Titans. They've made some changes, which I like. So Jaden Campbell back the big one there, but lean Titans, no confidence. And
the Sharks and the Raiders, the Sunday early game. Sharks $1.25, the Raiders $4.10, the line minus 11.5, over under 37.5. Which anything dewing there?
Oh, absolutely. I'm very, very confident as the week goes on, getting more and more confident on the minus 11.5 here. Hopefully not a deluge. Hopefully we get something resembling a half-decent track there. Some could not cut up too much after 5 games, but Sharks, very good double-digit favourites, very good off a big score. Outstanding winning with 12 men and 11 men at times against the Warriors last week. Not only winning, but covering the big line. The Raiders, horrendous away from Canberra Stadium. Got just 5 of 20. Give me the Sharks and give me them big. And the final game of Magic Round is the West Tigers $3.60 against the North Queensland Cowboys $1.30. The line 8.5, over under 37.5. This game deserves a cow paddock, which it probably will be by this stage. Anything taking your fancy there? Yeah, a little nugget for the listeners out there. The last 9 times the Tigers have been an underdog of 8 or more, covered 8 of them. So underrated by the market, the Tigers. Cowboys flying, obviously, but like I said, this game is probably going to take place on a fairly cut-up field after 8 games, after 7 previous games in the wet. I've got to be on the Tigers plus 8.5. I think the line's just too big.
Thank you, Toprope. Strap in for a little bit of news and action from Magic Round off-field next week, I dare say. But just a reminder, you can get the greatest game of all, the GGOA, for $22 a week in the littlebirdie.live shop for all your NRL betting action. And to MG, you've got your AFL Stings for $22 a week in the Little Birdie shop as well. MG, thank you. It's nice to see you fresh and in one piece. Nikki's away in Italy, so everyone gets a little bit of peace and quiet for a few days, which is great. Not sure if she's gone over for her sister's wedding or to go to Eurovision. That's still up for debate. But, good to see you, and we'll see you on Monday for the round in review.
Have a good weekend.
And Toprope, have a great weekend. Magic Round is one of the great rounds in Australian sport, so enjoy that, and hope all is well up there in Orange.
Yeah, looking forward to it, fellas. Thanks for having us, and see you guys next week.
So just a reminder, you can follow us on YouTube, find us in the Apple Store, on Spotify, SoundCloud, wherever you listen to your podcast. Follow at Little Birdie TV on Twitter or Instagram. Remember, all your footy betting action can be found at topsport.com.au. We'll be back next Friday. Don't forget to join Scooty, because Nikki's in Italy on Monday for the first look with all the weekend's action in review. Punt well, punt responsibly, and have a great weekend, punters.